Kundhavi Kadiresan is the Managing Director for Global Engagement and Innovation at CGIAR System Organisation, and she says to address some of the complex problems of today, sophisticated solutions are needed. She also notes that technology has to be relevant for today, and science and innovation should lead to adoption. Here's my chat with her.
What we really are focusing is the importance of technology and innovation and the importance for scaling up and having a more coordinated effort with partnerships for bigger impact. And in that sense, how much of investment is needed, not only in financial investment, but also in human capital, institutional investment, and all of that was actually quite an important way to look at the overall needs to bring research and innovation in the continent.
All right, let me take you back to the point you made around finding that coordinated approach, to protect Africa's food systems and ensure that we have food security. What some of the level of suggestions that were coming out there, and what is going to happen with the recommendations that have come out from this engagement?
Well, I think in a coordinated way to provide agriculture development needs, to be addressing some of the complex problems of today, we need more sophisticated solutions and often to address multiple competing priorities and in a more coordinated manner. So what we also heard is the need for increased public spending in agriculture and also particularly in technology and innovation. We also heard a lot in terms of ensuring that what we do is also done in partnership with the private sector, financial institutions, and civil societies and governments coming together. So in that sense, it also allows us to bring about a more coordinated approach and also empowering each country in ensuring that the technology and innovation is relevant for its own systems and setup, and providing an enabling environment for this technology and innovation to thrive more strongly and develop in that area. So on those lines, we talked a lot about realigning Africa's food systems and the need to invest in resilient and sustainable agri-food systems. And those are not only to ensure food security and nutrition security, but also to ensure that these are allowing the regional trade to thrive and ensuring that there is a growth and development across the continent as well.
All right, looking back at the Black Swan event from last year, which is the COVID-19 pandemic, I would like you to speak to how you think we can overturn that impact and build a more resilient food systems for Africa.
Well, when we talk about, again, I wanted to really emphasize CGIAR. We have emphasized in the past a lot in terms of improving crop varieties, bringing better breeding programs in livestock and fish, all of that to improve productivity. But now we also have to ensure resilience and also much sustainable agri-food systems. So it is also ensuring that we are using our natural resources in a responsible way. Also, as much as we talk about increasing livelihoods, we also have to ensure that the consumption pattern is also in a more sustainable way. So in that sense, the technology innovation that CGIAR brings also needs to be much more relevant for today. So along with improved crop varieties, we also have to bundle innovation. Bundling, I mean, not just breeding and better varieties, but also with the engineered irrigation, deep urea placement, foliar micronutrient additions, and motorized weeders and digital support. This is our rice technology toolkit that I'm talking about. So it's not only better rice varieties, but a package of innovation coming together. And this by itself will not really help to become a resilient and sustainable agri-food systems. In everything that we do, we also need to ensure that there is institutional innovation, financial innovation, and all of that working together so that all that science and innovation leads to adoption, and that farmers can actually also use this in a way to not only generate livelihood, but also we are able to ensure that we are managing our natural resources in an effective way. So the example that I gave was largely to not only increase our yield, but also to ensure that we are also ensuring that we are using the resources in an impactful way. And that's why CGIAR's new strategy looks at impact in all 5 dimensions of livelihood and income, certainly. In that sense, the creation of jobs, improving food security and health security, ensuring that we are also bringing about greater gender and inclusion and equality across the board. And when it comes to a climate responsive way of doing our work, it's both ensuring that adaptation and mitigation is also being brought about. So that's what I'm talking about when we talk about resilient and sustainable agri-food systems, and ensuring more than anything else that our biodiversity is also well preserved.
Yeah, very interesting, because the magic word in what you said, what I picked out from there is the word adoption. Because from my background, I also have a background in agricultural economics, and I remember during my dissertation at the time, and I worked on adoption of for rural farmers, and I kind of understand some of the challenges there. But what's the work on in CGIAR in that regard, in fostering that these wonderful innovations that are coming out of your labs and is getting down to the last mile?
Well, again, I talked a bit about the technology toolkit, the one that where we are, when we're talking about rice toolkit, it is bundled with all other innovation. Similarly, when we had the wheat technology toolkit, it was not only developing heat and drought tolerant varieties, but bundling them with a suite of good agriculture practices. As a result of it, again, just taking an example of Sudan alone, that collaboration in the country and bundling resulted in the production of about 65,000 tons of certified seed, reaching more than 300,000 farmers. And this was not possible just by CGIAR alone. It was done in collaboration with the African Development Bank, which brought the financial aspect of it. Then we worked closely with the private sector on the ground, and that helped for Sudan to experience perhaps one of its record year in wheat production. So again, I gave one example where technology combined with the funding and also with private sector doing its part, you reach the farmers. So it's not our science and technologies generated sitting in the shelf here, but getting the resources and the link with the national agriculture research systems, working along with the local partners to be able to reach the end user, here being the farmers and the community. And that's the kind of coordinated, partnered approach with the funding and the technology and innovation can bring about the scale and impact that we are talking about in today's event.